We are the trade gods. Chev, we're heading into week 4. We have some trades, grip and rip. Let's just get to them. Topical players, we have Trey Benson. He's a league winner. People are looking at him as a high upside player now that James Conner is out of the way. Jaylen Waddle, straight up for Trey Benson, 1 QB, 10 teams, start 8, full PPR, so a truncated amount of starts. I've been pro Jaylen Waddle, but give me Trey Benson. There's a 60% opportunity share that's vacated by James Conner. Benson, first in yards created per touch at 7.25. Benson, a home run hitter, can get it from 50 yards out. Now there's volume presented. Even if Trey Benson, he's going to be a high RB2 at least. So I love that play. Which side are you on? I think I know which way.
Easy. First of all, I'm a Jaylen Waddle denier, and I have not put that mantle down yet. But I'm also a Trey Benson truther. And if you've listened to anything I've said on this channel for the last 6 months, I've been saying to go get as much Trey Benson as humanly possible. And right now, we still have a buying opportunity to get off of an asset like Jaylen Waddle and get into the bell cow business that is Trey Benson. So yeah, I'm on the Trey Benson side.
Yeah, the price changes very quickly. And as much as on one side you can be fluid, and on my end, like Jaylen Waddle, I love Trey Benson. We have to be fluid with what we have. If you're able to swap Jaylen Waddle for Trey Benson, absolutely go and get it. And you may have somebody who's been a latent Jaylen Waddle truther who thinks, hey, I can get out and cash gold with the gold that's found now with Trey Benson. So good process either way, but give me the Trey Benson side because, hey, we want to win leagues. We want to win weeks. You win weeks, you stack leagues. Next up, let's go with Rashee Rice for Trey Benson and Josh Downs. You got 1 quarterback, 10 teams, start 9, full PPR. Chev, which side do you have?
I'm on the Rashee Rice side here. We're seeing what that offense looks like with having to depend on Tyquan Thornton as the primary pass catcher amongst the wide receiver core. And that's just not working. They gave Hollywood 16 targets in week 1. That didn't really work. And, Xavier Worthy's going to enter back into this fold, but it's very clear that the Chiefs view Rashee Rice as the alpha, the easy button in the offense. So I'm on the Rashee Rice side, although I just told you about the good news of Trey Benson. And I love Josh Downs too. But Rashee Rice to me represents a top 12 wide receiver, year over year, in my opinion. I'll take the security there. I think Trey Benson could end up being probably a top 15 dynasty asset. I think that's where he's going to be at the end of the season, but I'm on the Rashee Rice side.
Is that top 15 running back asset?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Just want to clarify.
Yes. Top 15 dynasty running back asset. Yes.
Beautiful. And I think you can go with team need if you're deep at running back and you like the top 5. I'm going to call top 5 run out for Rashee Rice. Then I think you take the Rice side. If you're 0 RB, you're really desperate and you need to gamble, I think you can go in that direction, but it's pretty painful. I kind of look at this as 1-for-1 Rashee Rice, Trey Benson. We cross out Josh Downs. Even then at the 0 RB, I think you have to suffer more pain and maybe not let Trey Benson hit your lineup if it allows you to go and get Rashee Rice. So I like the Rashee Rice side. Josh Downs is just kind of like a fake throw-in at this point. It's possible the trade with Benson and Downs could run out for you in a good way. But yeah, give me Rashee Rice. And you see how we're malleable, where I'm malleable off of Jaylen Waddle for Benson, and you, Chev, malleable for Trey Benson to Rashee Rice. Next up, Chev, another topical player, Jordan Mason. We have Malik Washington and a 27 round 1 pick, 2 years out, but it's a first. Jeremy McNichols, Jordan Mason. 2 quarterback, 12 teams, start 10, half PPR. Do you have the dynasty discipline, Chev, to cash out in what is an instance where you get 2 years from now another first-round pick? Or do you take, that temptation of the week you want to win weeks, stack weeks, win leagues, where you can get Jordan Mason week 4, he gets the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tremendous matchup. The light box rate for Jordan Mason. You're getting Jordan Addison back. There's very little competition. So which side do you take, Chev?
Man, right now you're talking to me like the devil on my shoulder to accept this Jeremy McNichols and Jordan Mason deal. Everything in me tells me that this 2027 first is just going to become more and more valuable by the day. If you're not familiar with the 2027 class, it is a doozy. So those picks are only going to get more valuable. Malik Washington, I think he's on the rise in terms of what his future portends in Miami. So I'm going to be on the 2027 first to Malik Washington side.
And what you can get off of this, you can get off of Jordan Mason, get that 27-1, and then have the dynasty discipline when Malik Washington matriculates up. There's going to be a hot period where you can cash out on him and think of where you got him in your rookie picks, round 4, round 5, if he's on your roster. Maybe he's been blended in some throw-in trades. There's been no high cost on Malik Washington. So you're going to have an opportunity maybe to push for a second or an early third. There's opportunity that's going to be out there that should present itself because we have some of that volatility with what's going on with Tyreek Hill and what's going on with Jaylen Waddle up above him. Sometimes he can get hurt. A lot of things going on at the Miami coaching changes. So a lot to cover there. Good things are happening, though, for Jordan Mason. Here's another one. Dalton Kincaid just had a big game against the Miami Dolphins. So it's like, oh, man, you pull me out. I'm back in. Limited in the amount of routes that he ran. So he ran pure on efficiency, Dalton Kincaid, in week 3 for Jordan Mason, straight up, 2 quarterback, 12 team, start 10, full PPR, 0.5 premium on the tight end. Chev, what side do you have?
I'm going to go Jordan Mason. Every single time we've seen Jordan Mason be good at football, every single time we've seen him be good at football. So I'm going to keep believing that he's good at football. Now, the results may vary with Dalton Kincaid. They say he was playing through an injury last year, and it seems to be proving itself to be true. We're getting a different version potentially of Dalton Kincaid, but I believe that Jordan Mason is going to give you 12 to 15 points a game in your lineup week in and week out. Dalton Kincaid has that type of ceiling, but it's going to be much more inconsistent. So if you already have a proven tight end, I'd be cool sending off Dalton Kincaid to get a little bit more running back depth back. And I think Jordan Mason for this year in particular, if you're a contender, gives you that opportunity to lock in some points into your lineup.
I think you hit the nail on the head. If you need week over week and immediacy for production, both arrows point up for Jordan Mason. Dalton Kincaid teased us with that good game against the Dolphins. We have an entire season run out set up beautifully for Jordan Mason. He's number 1 in the light front carry rate. That's a stat on Player Profiler. An average 5.9 defenders in the box, which ranks 52nd. Now you get Jordan Addison coming back. It's just a beautiful setup for him strategically. If you're unsure, let's say you're unsure about this, but you keep the Jordan Mason side, consider you get a juicy matchup against the Steelers in Ireland, and you can get another back-to-back performances. It'd be 2 very good performances, and you know how quickly things change. The sentiment runs up, and you got FOMO, fear of missing out. You can go out shopping for something more expensive than Dalton Kincaid. So I think you've got an opportunity. It's a hold on Jordan Mason, a possible sell, and you're either going to reap profit by holding and continuing with 2 back-to-back weeks, and then you're considering the entirety of the season. And then, of course, you could sell out and try and sell high for maybe a more stable asset. Somebody's got better draft capital, maybe somebody in this rookie class who is underperforming. You never know. So considering the Dynasty stock and prices, here's something from the Podfather.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams. And then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs. And then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes pick values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to all in and get $25 off.
Now let's go to another trendy set of players. Jake Ferguson, Chris Olave. Jake Ferguson, 1-to-1 for Chris Olave. 1 quarterback, 10 teams, start 8, full PPR. Chris Olave leads the NFL in targets with 37. Chev, you were on the show last week saying Chris Olave is a buy. We saw the volume. You love to see it. I love seeing Olave on my teams. I look up and I see what was it, 14 targets. It's like, whoa, what just happened there? That escalated very quickly. Jake Ferguson, though, tied for third overall targets with 32 himself. Ferguson now has no CeeDee Lamb for basically the next month. Ferguson is he tight end 1 at the moment. Again, tight end 1 at the moment, 15.1 fantasy points per game, third in tight end slot snaps, fourth in air yards at 112. And the Cowboys are third in team pass plays per game. And then the Saints on the other side are fourth at 42 team pass plays per game. So this for me is a simple area where you have team need play out. Do you need tight end more, or do you need wide receiver help? Because I think you want to stack weeks and win leagues. Jake Ferguson, all of a sudden, especially in this one's just full PPR, doesn't have a tight end premium. If you were to go in the direction of a 0.5 tight end premium, you're possibly debating flexing Ferguson. I've got a league where I've got Tyler Warren and Ferguson, and they were both in there, and I was able to flex Jake Ferguson. And now with no CeeDee Lamb, I'm very much tempted to go back to that route. Chev, what side do you take?
This is tough, man, because if this was any sort of tight end premium, it becomes an absolute smash on the Jake Ferguson side. So shout out to our boy Andrew Cooper with the yin and the yang tight end theory. So part of one of his foundations of trying to pick a tight end is, hey, can you be the second target in a consolidated target share offense? And that's exactly what we're going to get for at least the next 4 weeks, probably, from Jake Ferguson with CeeDee Lamb out. So you have this massive buying window sell window where he's going to be featured for the next 4 weeks, and he's going to move into those dynasty. Is he a top 10 dynasty tight end? Is he a top 6 dynasty tight end? This could reach fever pitch levels. So I would keep Chris Olave if I had him. I would send Jake Ferguson to get Chris Olave, but you could potentially, this is 10 teams, so I feel like Jake Ferguson's full PPR value could be closer to Chris Olave, but long-term dynasty value, I do feel like Chris Olave is going to have more stable long-term dynasty value. You alluded to the fact that he's leading the NFL in targets, but beyond that, the expected fantasy points, like he's every single week, he's the leader in expected fantasy points. So we're just going to reach that ceiling outcome with Chris Olave and start getting some of the monster performances that come with 3 straight weeks of double-digit fantasy performances. So I'm on the Chris Olave side here, but I think that there is also a place where you can extract more value to sell Jake Ferguson over the next month.
Yeah, it's eye of the beholder, and just go by, for me, it's team need. And the beauty is you are just ecstatic about Jake Ferguson on your teams now. And then same thing for Chris Olave. We're finally getting that dopamine rush of the delayed gratification for Olave based on all the concussions and the unrealized air yards. All of a sudden, this volume is really starting to hit. If Olave can just get some more yak, a little bit more length on the passes and the receptions, and get into some touchdown equity, we are going to be cooking with gas big time. Now, heading over here, Jake Ferguson, 1-for-1 for a 26th round 2 pick. So topical to what you said, there's a rush and a rise in price on Jake Ferguson. A few weeks ago, you would have been ready to smash except for that second. But how do you walk away from the next month, Chev, of the fantasy goodness from Jake Ferguson? And you notice this is 1 tight end premium league, start 11, 12 teams, 2 quarterback, full PPR, 9 targets per game for Jake Ferguson. If you're on a rebuilder, maybe, but you may be able to swing a third on top in tight end premium leagues, or you might just want to hold on to this and maybe get into territory where, let's say the next 3 weeks run out, Jake Ferguson is maybe not tight end 1, but tight end 3, and there's no shortage or no sign of things stopping, and they're cooking, you're getting the 9 targets consistently and the production. Maybe you get into territory where you can push for somebody's got 2 seconds next year, or they've got their 2 seconds the next 2 years. I love the Ferguson side here. I'm actually going to hold off and have discipline to see and have conviction that Ferguson's going to rise in price from here, which is wild because 2 weeks ago, I would have easily smashed and been feeling bad today. So it's so funny, the trades that don't work out. I could not give away Jake Ferguson at all this offseason for any bit where I thought I was sharp and trying to get one over on people where it was like a sly third or a late pick for a Rondé Gatson, which may long term end up being okay. Little things like that when we were in rookie drafts, nobody bit, but I am so ecstatic. Like, thank you. Sometimes it's the deals that don't happen. Chev, what do you think?
Man, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see something like this because it tells me that the market is not adjusting to the information that we have that Jake Ferguson is being heavily targeted in this offense. This is going to be one of the most highly highly ranked teams in terms of pass rate over expectation. There's nothing that says that they're going to just start putting the ball in Javonte Williams' belly more. This is $260 million Dak Prescott with his $50 million tight end now. So there's a world where him and George Pickens are just splitting the targets evenly. They both, I mean, he had 14 targets, I believe, this Sunday. So with that being the case, I can't bring myself to sell short, especially in a tight end premium. You get 1 extra point per reception. So it's 2 PPR for tight ends. Jake Ferguson is going to outperform every single pick in the 2026 round 2 range. And not only that, is like it's a mystery box. It could be a boat, but it could be a poop knife. So we're talking about opportunities like this. And I like if I can go get Jake Ferguson for a 2 right now and I need tight end help, I'm absolutely doing that.
Now, speaking of the poop knife, though, this is apropos because if you do have the poop knife, you are not distraught. You are not at somebody else's house concerned whether or not you're in need of it because you have it. So a lot unlocking here. Let's head over to Jaxson Dart. He's going to get the start. New York Giants, 0-3. Tough run out. Russell Wilson gave them that dead cat bounce we saw in week 2 with the Cowboys. They lose the shootout. Perfect example of a dead cat bounce. Everybody could see it. You knew it would come back to life if you were realistic. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense, while Mahomes in offense is struggling, that defense is still so guile. Dart for a 26 round 1. Dart gets the start in week 4 against the Chargers. Give me the way the QB class is fluctuating and volatile for the 2026 class. Give me the time value asset tangibly in Jaxson Dart. Dart is in the driver's seat to raise his dynasty stock price to more than 26 first. I'd stick with Dart. Should Dart pan out, you're getting what you want in the 26 QB anyways, that high in the draft. So for me, I'm going to have conviction and go Jaxson Dart. Chev, which side?
You got to go Jaxson Dart here. I mean, even if process wise, you could be selling. If you got Jaxson Dart at say like the 202 or the 203 potentially, you could still be selling short. So we're talking about Jaxson Dart coming in and having these weapons at his disposal. You know, Brian Daboll can construct a competent offense. We'll see how that goes. But he's a first-round quarterback that's going to be playing, and so he's got insulated value that's going to be at worst by the end of this year worth a 2026 round 1. And if it continues to ascend, then you just sold short. And I don't want to be in that business of selling a first-round quarterback, before I ever get a chance to see him play. So at the point now that you're watching this, it's been announced that Jaxson Dart's the starter. So we now have to treat him in any form of superflex is worth at least 2 times what he was worth prior to being named the starter. And that would
keep going.
Yeah, I'm not going to sell for just a 1 here.
Yeah, and the beauty is this is kind of like what we had with the Keenan Allen glitch where he goes to the Bears. We knew he could cook, still be good, and then just goes back to somebody who he has rapport with in Justin Herbert. Well, we found a little glitch with Jaxson Dart where you could get him at the 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, 2-5 in these rookie superflex drafts. And it's just a beauty. It's kind of like what happened with Bo Nix last year. And of course, it still has to happen, until it happens, it hasn't occurred. But we are projecting here from 22 to 24 rushing yards. This is in college for Jaxson Dart. 614. 391, 495. Consider and remember, you get sacked, you lose those yards for rushing. So there's even more rushing yards that are out there. Not a very impressive 40-yard dash for Jaxson Dart. He ran a 4.69 So it's nothing crazy, but he's agile and good enough. So I love this pick. And then on this trade, Chev, you've got Rashee Rice. Last one we got Chris Godwin for Dart and a 26th round one. Which side do you like?
Whew. Okay, so we're gonna end with a little spice. Ending with a little spice. So it's 2 QB. So I'm getting a quarterback and I'm getting a 26-1, which could also be a quarterback. If I have the quarterback depth, I would do this to acquire Rashee Rice, because basically we're wiping off the Chris Godwin side, because Chris Godwin, we hope that he returns to form. And if he does, this is a smash. But even without that, this is a little tenuous. So this is Jaxson Dart and a 2026 one basically for Rashee Rice. However you break it down, it's Rashee Rice for Jaxson Dart. Choose your adventure, and then it's a 2026 one for Chris Godwin, if you want to look at it that way. So I'm on the Jaxson Dart and the 2026 one side here, and I don't want to be. But process-wise, I feel a lot better. Even it's start 11, so we're kind of getting, but it's only 10 teams. We just talked about Jaxson Dart's rushing floor. This is tough. This is deep thought and consternation / constipation.
On the fence.
I'm really on the fence. I got it. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Jaxson Dart in the 2026 one.
Yeah, I'm there for it, because I get the bonus shot to build my QB room and get the time value of Jaxson Dart. I spoke to it earlier in the Jaxson Dart for the 26-1. Well, now I get both in this trade. I get that time value of an asset that can rise, which I believe will rise in Jaxson Dart. And then if I still want to continue the quarterback conundrum, a 26 round one pick, you'll love to see it. Speaking of love, and you said start 11, some of those other positional players could become valuable a little bit more. And hey, how about some Jeremiah Love to your team? Put Jeremiah Love on this other side. We are cooking with some gas. So I will take the imagination that is going to be the 26 round one and Jaxson Dart. It's a tough sell, but at the same time, I think it's very guile by the Rashee Rice person in this instance. If they're the aggressor in the trade, one side is sending it out. So you're like, hey, if you're the Dart and the one sending it out, it's kind of like, hey, what are you doing? But if you're the Rice Godwin and you think you can package it up, this is how you have a little bit of steel reserve, because we love Rashee Rice. And the person sending away Rashee Rice and Godwin probably loves Rashee Rice as much as we do. But at the same time, you have to find pockets and markets where you're going to process and just find a way. So I've been Coach. This has been Chev. We are the Trey Gods. We will see you next week.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, Data Analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.